How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today's video we are looking at this just disgusting tank at tier 7 on World of Tanks console. It probably is one of the most overpowered tanks in the game, tier for tier, I think, and it certainly is a tank that I've enjoyed playing every single time I play in it. There's very little situations where this tank feels under pressure. You've just got everything that you'll need as this kind of playstyle that you want to play in. I know that with the most recent videos we've been going a lot with the high alpha TDs, but this one is a high alpha heavy tank / TD. So, you know, if you enjoy that kind of playstyle where you're slapping people for 700 alpha damage at tier 7, remember that is tier 7 alpha damage on a heavy tank, that's like an E100 at tier 7, just slapping people left, right and centre, and with the reload of this tank being so fast, it just makes it super OP. Now, we'll get into some gameplay here live, I think, because you know, it's always fun to talk about the tank, and obviously you'll see me derp a couple of times when I do these live videos, so hopefully this game won't be too bad. But as far as what the KV2 or the Dreadnought KV2, which is like a KV2 at tier 7 that's fast, it's got mobility, it has the heat penetration, which is the key thing. It has 252 millimeters of heat penetration, which means that whatever you come up against, whether that be a tier 9 or a tier 5, remember you can come up against tier 5s in this Dreadnought. As you can see in the game right now, we're coming up against tier 5s. So this can basically one-shot any tier 5 in the game, realistically. You know, even tier 6s, you can actually take away most of their hit points. And sometimes if they're a TD or a light tank, you'll be able to just remove all of their hit points as well. So yeah, this tank is just utterly broken. It's a tank that Wargaming obviously didn't think too much about it, or they did think about it and thought that they could make some money off of it, which is true in both cases. But yeah, this thing is one of the most overpowered tanks in my opinion. And I really don't see how they actually managed to implement this without too much uproar. I know that people tend to usually get a little bit upset when they bring in overpowered tanks. I'm not saying, you know, you guys should go out and club in the Dreadnought, but, you know, if I'm going to make a video, it might as well be looking at some of the best tanks in the game, and this certainly is one of them, tier for tier. Unfortunately for you guys, it is a premium tank, so, you know, it will cost you quite a bit of gold, although it's not actually as much as you'd probably think, considering most tier 8s are actually more expensive than this tank, but it is one that, you know, you'll have so much fun when you do actually play it, and yeah, I would 100% recommend it. Unfortunately we missed that shot. That was a bit derpy by me there, although this is the king of derp. Hopefully this reach will just stick around there and wait for me to reload. But yeah, this tank just has that ridiculous gun, and hopefully you'll get to see it in action in just a second as we hit someone, hopefully. But I can't say that for sure. Maybe we'll get dirt by artillery, maybe the reach will just get us, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, one thing that I do not like about Highway is often people go the wrong side on this version of the map, which is really annoying. Like, you do not want to be sitting in the spawn, you don't want to be at B7, and you'll just see what happens is you get crushed by both sides because no one's gone into the town. We have a few players there, but not enough to kind of withhold the enemy's advancement if they do decide to actually push aggressively into the town. Now, the field is good for mediums, but what I do see is a lot of heavy tanks actually just camping in the base. Now, I know that I'm not necessarily being too aggressive in this game, but I certainly kind of know when I should be realistically pushing up against the opponents, and so, you know, getting an early shot off is different to just camping in a position that you know will probably not be very good. As we shut down the AMX-12-2, I thought he could get a little bit of the kind of sauce against me, apparently, but unfortunately for him, we don't have bot aim, so we actually managed to hit him and penetrate him and take him out of the game. Now we've got people crossing here. The hammer's about to get pumped as we just hit him for however much damage it was. It didn't actually say, but yeah, we did hit him there. 47 damage there. Now this captured KV-1, if we can hit him, hopefully we'll get one shot. Well, he did, but he got set on fire, so we didn't actually one-shot him entirely, but karma. We get set on fire by the Reach, which is another broken tier 6, a mercenary tank that is just lethal to come up against. As far as being aggressive in this tank, yeah, you can be super aggressive. The T21, what are you doing, man? Like, do you think I'm an absolute bot? No, I'm not. I'll go back to the garage. This is what I always find with players on this game. Sometimes they just don't know when to push. I'm thinking I probably shouldn't be too aggressive against these guys, but I think I should probably help out this guy, probably. Otherwise, I think we're going to lose quite badly. I know that this is probably not a good idea. In fact, I know it's not a good idea. As we bounce as well, which makes it even... Oh god, what have I done? We've only managed to get 1200 damage, which is pretty terrible for this tank anyway. I mean, for the majority of other tanks, I mean, I guess it would be good. We low-rolled superbly here against the Reach, which is actually really annoying. And it does mean that we're going to have to kind of push up against this building. Hopefully we'll take him out of the game, which we did. And the M4 Sherman for some reason is trying to mount me, but we do get taken out there, which is unfortunate. You know, I can't really complain too much because our team camping in the base obviously does a lot for this game. I should have probably helped the Comet a little bit faster in this game, but we can't do everything. Sometimes I do play a little bit like a bot, and we can't have those crazy high damage games every game, and unfortunately we do lose this one. But yeah, we do have to kind of think critically sometimes. Should have pushed in, helped the Comet a little bit faster if I wanted to win that flank, and then we could have turned around and helped out the campers in the base. Certainly not something you should be doing if you're playing in this game, is going into positions like this. It's not a good idea. You just kind of, yes, you can get early damage off against people that may push in the field, but ultimately what happens is they win the city, and then you're going to lose the game overall. Now, hopefully, this guy will get taken out pretty quick, because it's going to happen. Although everyone's being bots and they're just aiming at the non-weak points of this tank. The T28 HDC, if you've never seen it before, the weak points are these little droidy bits on the side of the tank. You want to be hitting those if you can, because they are the kind of area which is the weakest. So aim for those little droidy bits on the left hand side and the right hand side if you want to make sure that you're penning it every time. And that's just a little bit of a tip for those of you who have got this far in this video. Now, yes, you know, that was a pretty terrible game. Let's not joke around. You know, it didn't seem like we did too much, but we picked up 2,600 damage, and it really wasn't particularly an amazing game for us. Certainly not in the Dreadnought. It's not something that you don't regularly see, 2,000 damage. If you want to get up, I guess, you stat pad your average damage per battle. Playing the Dreadnought could really help, because it is a tier 7 and you can average 3k damage fairly easily. Like, it's not too difficult to do that. At least for me anyway. I know that obviously for newer players it might be slightly harder, but it will give you the kind of ideas as to how to push out that damage. Remember, what you need to be doing in a tank that has this high alpha damage and has the power that is making sure that you put yourselves in an opportunity where you're only fighting one-on-one with someone, and that you can actually pull round a corner, deal your shot of high alpha damage, take maybe 200, 300 damage in return, deal 700 damage back to them, and obviously you do that a couple times and you're going to be well on your way to getting the damage requirement that you'll probably want to be getting, you know, those high damage games. Now, if you can get a shot off without taking any damage, obviously that's the best thing that you could possibly do in World of Tanks. Obviously getting as many shots off without taking any damage is going to mean that you're going to basically win more, because you know, you aren't taking shots in return. Or if you can bounce shots in this thing, which is unlikely because the armour is a KV1 hull with a KV2 turret. Although if they do hit the mantler, I guess you could bounce a few heat rounds, but it is unlikely. So don't rely on the armour in this thing. Against tier 5s maybe you'll bounce, or they'll bounce, but for the most part you are kind of a bit of a glass cannon. Although it doesn't seem like it in game, you will be a glass cannon TD type kind of playstyle, although you do have that mobility and the ability to kind of get into position. And what we are going to do is try and hit one of these bad boys as we hit the Type 59-2, and we get hit in return, unfortunately, when we weren't spotted, which is actually really annoying, but oh well, I guess it was that other guy that was spotted, and we will actually hit this Chi-Ri here, hopefully. Boom, taking him out of the game. So there you go, this is what the Dreadnought's all about, is getting those shots off early in the game. You know, 1,000 damage already, just making sure that we know, you know, take those spots where you often get hit in the games early on, and then use them to your advantage. Don't just take them and then kind of sit there. Make sure that you use them as well, because that is that's what kind of makes a decent player become even better, you know. Making sure that you're doing those kind of things to take best advantage of everything that you're doing. I think the Udes is a bit salty that I managed to take all of that damage from the Leo there, but you know, we won't care too much. Hopefully we won't steal all of his damage in this game, or at least for his sake anyway. As we do hit the Emil 1 there for 700 damage. This is what I mean, we're on 2,300 damage. It's been like 2 minutes into the game. We're a tier 7 in a tier 9 game. We've dealt that much damage. We have got to be careful though, because there is a tier 9 artillery. We are just shutting people down. We're holding down this flank. Dreadnought is just super OP. You know, no other tier 7 would be able to just completely punish any tier 9s, tier 8s and tier 7s from pushing around a corner in that amount of tanks anyway. We do have some support, so I can't say that, you know, those tanks wouldn't have come around the corner and dealt damage to me if it was, if we didn't have support, but it certainly helps out a lot. And unfortunately, we don't want to sit in front of the Emil too much there, because that thing has a pretty good gun. He's fired 1, he's fired 2, he's fired 3, and I think he may be out. So we're going to push up now. Well, he certainly won't be able to full health us anyway in this game. Now the Emil, come here, come to me, come to me. Yes, I will take 700 alpha damage off of him, which is always good. Managing to pick up 3,400 alpha damage. So far, my teammates are being bots, they're not aim. Why does no one aim? Yeah, we've had a good game so far, and you know, hopefully we can get some more damage. I don't really want to be the only one pushing this guy. This is another tank, right? I know that I talked about this in my FE 4005 video, but we may die here now. Move. Oh god. Right, move forward because artillery. But yeah, I mentioned about the equipment that you could actually swap your tank rounds in, and this tank could be one of those that you could actually pick, because right there, what I would have ideally done is actually loaded a HE round, so wherever I hit the Emil I would have taken him out in the game. Obviously that can't be used in every single situation, because sometimes even if you do that, you're not going to be able to actually pen. And unfortunately, we're gonna get taken out here, I think. Well, no, we didn't actually, but that's unfortunate. We actually managed to bounce a few. We could have been on a hell of a lot more damage if we did manage to actually take out a few more shots within this game. But you know, you can't have everything every single time. And hopefully these videos and these actual guides are helping you guys for decision making and knowing what to do, when to push. I know that for me personally, knowing when to actually like attack or go forward or push or do all the various things like that in the game is something that probably took the longest to actually learn. And yeah, I think that will probably help you guys out in the long term as to doing the best that you can given the situation that you're in. And hopefully this tiger shark doesn't decide to just come and get us. Or at least if he does, he gives us another shot of damage. So hopefully he does actually come and get us, if that makes sense. Because I will take that extra shot of damage if possible. He's getting YOLO'd, so we're just going to sit here and maybe when he realises that there's that many tanks, he might come down the hill straight at us, if that makes sense. But unfortunately he didn't. We don't get any more damage, but we did manage to pick up 3,600 damage within this game, which is a decent one. You know, for a tier 7, I'd be very happy with that if I was consistently doing 3,500 damage. But in the Dreadnought, it's one of those that you probably want to be doing a little more every single game, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you want to pick it up, it is about 7,000 gold. I don't know if you can buy it straight out of the premium store, so if you want to actually pick it up in the game, you might have to wait until it's on sale. Generally, Wargaming know how overpowered this is and how many people tend to buy it every time that they sell it, which means that it comes onto sale quite regularly. So if you see it in-game, make sure that you pick up this absolutely broken monster, and you'll certainly have fun. Remember, don't really fire any AP rounds in this thing because it's just not worth it. Your heat rounds just have more penetration and you'll make the money back. Like, you will 100% make your money back. So don't worry about trying to make money in this thing. It isn't a tank where you want to make loads and loads of money, but it is a tank where you can have so much fun, and loading those heat rounds is the key to having that fun in this tank. Because if you load the AP, you're just going to do worse in 9 times out of 10. Yeah, there's no reason to fire AP in this thing, and certainly if you want to fire kind of a different round, then you should be firing HE at the lower or the weakly armoured tanks in the game. And as far as equipment goes in it, you want to be using improved ventilation, advanced loader and advanced optics to try and boost up that view range. You could swap out the ventilation for the advanced reload, so you can swap between your rounds. So if you want to fire HE or you want to fire heat, that will give you the option to do that. So that's kind of one of the things I'd probably drop out. It would be the ventilation in this thing, just so that you have that opportunity to swap between your rounds. But it's up to you at the end of the day. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, there will be other videos on screen right now that you can have a look at. We did one on the FV4005, and we also did one on the FV4202. We've got loads of different guides and gameplay for World of Tanks that you'll probably enjoy if you enjoyed this one. So if you want to check out any of that content, then you can do. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week whenever you are watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.